All right, so welcome back to Dapp University. So today I've got another coding tutorial for you. I'm going to show you how to create an NFT that generates passive income with royalties. I've gotten so many requests for this tutorial, and I first created this video for my members inside the Dapp University community over at Blockchain Mastery University. But by popular request, I've decided to make this video public for you all. So if you want to learn about this highly requested topic, then make sure you watch this video, like, subscribe. And if you like what you see and you want to see more videos like this, then make sure you sign up today over at dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. All right, so let's take a look at what we're going to build in this video. Okay, so let's just get a high-level overview of how this problem works. Okay, so basically, let's just start off with an NFT, right? An NFT is a non-fungible token, all right? And typically that's representing like digital artworks, digital collectibles. That's the most popular use cases for NFTs. There's lots of things you can do beyond that, but one really interesting thing that people keep asking me is like, hey, how can I create an NFT that like anytime somebody sells it, that the person who created the NFT actually gets paid to do that? So there are a few different ways to do that. I'm going to discuss some of those different strategies in this video, but let's just look from a high level how it's implemented. So let's start with the NFT itself. So the NFT collection, I'm going to put collection here. The NFT collection is governed by a smart contract on a blockchain. Okay. So this is a smart contract that has a bunch of functions on it. It has some data inside of it that basically keeps track of how many individual NFTs there are. So the collection is governed by a single smart contract, you can see here. But then that collection says like, hey, each individual NFT with its ID, maybe like NFT1, all right, we keep track of this NFT and who owns it, right? We also keep track of where the image is located because, NFT images, like the pictures you see, don't actually live on a blockchain. They typically live on something called IPFS, the interplanetary file system. Images are way too big to put on a blockchain. That's why. And so the NFT collection smart contract, keeps track of this, and it, keeps track of NFT number 2 all the way to NFT number 9,999, however many you have, and where those images are. Okay, so the NFTs are also responsible for, the NFT collection is also responsible for keeping track of who owns the NFTs. So, this NFT number 2 here might be owned by collector number 1. All right, and the NFT has some functions on it that lets people send these NFTs between wallets or to list it on a marketplace like OpenSea, for example. And it's got some special functions inside of it that facilitate the transfer of those NFTs. Anytime it's bought and sold on a marketplace, anytime it changes hands directly with wallets. So say you got a MetaMask wallet out, and you just sent your NFT to another wallet or somebody else, so say collector 2, whether you sent it directly with a marketplace, whether you sent it directly to their wallet or, you sold it on a marketplace, the NFT is changing hands with some special functions and mechanics inside this smart contract right here that facilitates that transfer and basically just changes the ownership inside, which we're going to see here in a minute. So the real question here is, anytime that happens, anytime an NFT is bought and sold, keyword bought and sold here, how can you pay the creator of the NFT some percentage of that sale, all right, as a royalty? And so that's exactly what we're going to look at specifically with code right now. All right, so let's go ahead and install the project that we're going to create in this video. Okay, so there should be a link down in the description below for a GitHub repository. If you're watching this video inside the Blockchain Mastery program, there should be a zip file down below. But either way, you can access this public repository of Dapp University GitHub, the NFT royalties project. Okay, so you definitely want to clone that. So I did, you type in git clone, all right, and then put in this URL, git clone, and then put in the URL. I've already done this step, so I'm going to skip it. But once you've, cloned it, you want to do cd NFT royalties to enter into that newly created directory. I've already done this, so it's going to tell me there's no such directory. But that's what you want to do. So the next thing is that we want to install the dependencies for this. So here's what we're going to create in this video. We're going to create the smart contract for the NFT collection in Solidity. That's the main programming language used for writing Ethereum smart contracts. We're going to use JavaScript for React and testing. We're going to use Web3 to talk to the blockchain, Truffle for smart contract development, and Ganache for local blockchain. Okay. So basically we need Node.js installed on our computer. You can see if you have Node installed by going to your terminal, typing node-v. Okay. I'm going to use Node 14.16.0 in this. You can use the version here, 16.5.0. Okay. You need Truffle installed and also Ganache. So I am not going to go through every single installation. If you're in the Blockchain Mastery Program, there's special videos in the video vault that show you how to install each of these things. I'm not going to belabor it in this video. Okay. So, but let's just continue on with the project. So make sure you clone it, install the dependencies locally. Once you make sure you've got all your system dependencies installed with npm install. So this is just going to take all the node dependencies for the project and install them. So I've already done this, so it's finished quickly. The first time you do it, it might take a few seconds, maybe even a few minutes. Okay. So now that that's out of the way, let's dive into the project. All right. So let's go ahead and set the project up. All right. So basically, how we're going to do this project is instead of coding everything out step by step, it's going to be a very topical video, okay? Because I get this question, like I get these topics coming up from time to time. Hey, how do I do blank? How do I do that? Okay, and the purpose of the video is designed to give you the solution to that and explain how it works rather than code everything else step by step. So the best way to get that step-by-step coding knowledge is definitely to do the blockchain bootcamp where you learn to build everything from scratch, actually learn those programming languages as you go and build a huge, in-depth, massive real-world project, okay? So the goal of this is basically to get you to see how NFT royalties might work. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and, spin up a blockchain and we can deploy a smart contract, and I'm going to walk you through the code and how you can implement this, okay? So let's go ahead and open up Ganache. All right, so Ganache is going to be the development blockchain that we use to test out the smart contract, okay? So basically once you start this, you'll see, blockchain running with, 10 accounts with 100 fake ether in each account, all right? And what we're going to do is go ahead and migrate the smart contracts of the project. So truffle migrate -- reset and just make sure that everything worked properly. And boom, there we go. So now I'm going to open the project up in my text editor just to make sure that we have everything that we need and do a quick tour of the project. So we have the package.json file. This just is the dependencies for the project, okay? The truffle-config file. This basically just connects our project to the blockchain. You can see that here. It also sets up the Babel configuration so that we can use all the nice features of JavaScript inside the project. And it also has the Solidity compiler settings for this version of Solidity that we want to use in the project, okay? So inside of here, we have a smart contract for the NFT project, and then also some tests and a script. So we're not going to create a front-end website for this. We're not going to show you how to create a marketplace or anything, but we're going to show you how to, write the smart contract code that implements this exact feature and how to test it out to make sure that it works and how to use a script so you can see this in real time. So for the NFT project, let's talk about, sort of the exact place that we want to modify this or change our NFT to implement these royalties. So first, let's talk about the code for the NFT itself. So NFTs generally follow a standard called ERC 721, which is really just a specification for how the NFT works. Again, NFTs basically just keep track of, who owns which NFT, how to transfer them, all that type of stuff, where the images are, the metadata. And so a lot of them work really kind of the same. And so that's what the ERC 721 standard is for, is so that everybody comes together on a common way of doing things, so that they are, supported by wallets, so that they are compatible on marketplaces, exchanges, all that type of stuff. And then a huge benefit for you as a developer is you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you create an NFT. So we're going to use the Open Zeppelin library, okay, which is a library that has basically a bunch of pre-made smart contracts inside of it. If you want to create an Ethereum-based token, it's a really quick way to do it. If you want to create an NFT, it's a really quick way to do it. They have lots of great things in there. So you can see inside of, the Open Zeppelin library that we have, ERC 721 contracts that are basically, have a lot of the NFT features inside of them. So you can see the common functions like balance of. This is a function that just, says how many tokens each person has. Owner of, you can give it a specific token and see who owns that token. And then what you want to pay attention to right here is this transfer from function. All right. So this transfer from function is the function that gets called every single time the NFT changes hands. And this is exactly where we're going to change the smart contract so that we can actually collect royalties. Okay, so we're going to look at that here in a second, but let's do a quick overview of the strategies and the pros and cons. So there are several different ways where you might implement NFT royalties, okay? And the strategy that I'm going to show you in the video today is really just for kind of educational purposes only, because there's lots of different ways to do NFT royalties. Some of them are going to be really challenging to implement. All right, some of them will be easier. And the one I'm going to show you today in the video today is easier. And it's going to show you kind of how to get your hands dirty with this. So I'll explain the problem, which is, with NFT royalties, different people implement them different ways. And they're really, to my knowledge, at least so far, somebody has knowledge of this, leave a comment down in the comment section below. Let us know inside the community, is that it's really hard to always keep track of any time an NFT sale happens. So, with the NFT, the strategy for doing this would basically be, look into each transaction, okay? And then basically anytime a transaction occurs, try to pay someone if there's value transferred in that transaction. Now, there's pros and cons with this. The transaction must include an Ether value to it, which means the value must be traded with Ether, in the sense that somebody's buying an NFT with Ether in order to capture that as a royalty, okay? It'd be really hard to do it with an ERC20 token. But if you wanted to do it with any cryptocurrency that's based on something like Ethereum, whatever blockchain you're using, you could basically implement the royalties at the marketplace level. So there's a couple of different strategies, like I was saying. One is to basically modify the NFT itself, and that's what we're going to do in this video. The other is to modify the marketplace. Now, there are some other ideas in here. There's like some different NFT standards, some other things, but these are the two common strategies. Now, we're not going to do this strategy because there's a huge trade-off here, which is you have to basically always sell the NFT on a specific marketplace, right? Like, the royalties, the creator's only going to get royalties if it's sold in that marketplace. Now, the other trade-off to that is the creator could basically list their NFT on multiple marketplaces as the creator, but you have to rely on a marketplace to actually comply with that, right? So there's different trade-offs, but for the sake of this video, we're just going to implement it with specific transactions where if someone is transferring an NFT and there's Ether involved in that transfer, right, like this, then basically the creator is going to get paid. So again, not a perfect solution, but you'll see how this works underneath the hood. All right, so let's go ahead and dive into the code of this project. So we have already created this smart contract and put it on the blockchain. That's what we did here when we did Truffle Migrate -- reset. All right, but let's actually observe the contract itself and call out the places where we've changed it to actually implement the NFT royalties, okay? So again, we are pulling in the Open Zeppelin library. So we're using a template basically for the ERC721 token that gives us all these functions like balance of, owner, safe transfer, from, approve, mint, all that type of stuff, okay? And so you can see that right here at the top. So we're importing ERC721.sol. We've just literally copied and pasted like the contracts inside of the directory here. We've also implemented, the ownable library from the NPM packages here. Okay. And so we create a contract called NFT. So that's how you do contract. Keyword NFT is ERC721 enumerable. So basically this lets us have a collection of NFTs. All right. And it's also ownable. So we can have, somebody who creates the smart contract be the address who has special permissions. Okay. So inside of here, we do a couple things to make this an NFT royalty. So you can see that we basically have, we've literally just imported these functions from the other smart contracts, but we have also overridden some of these functions. So if you look at like some of these functions like safe transfer from or transfer from or, all that type of stuff, we have, written these functions again. So that's what happens in Solidity. If you create a function with the same name inside this smart contract, it's going to override whatever's coded in the contract that you imported. So transfer from is inside of this ERC 721 enumerable, but we rewrote the transfer from function inside of here to accommodate royalties. And the same thing for the other functions, which I'll go through step by step here in a minute. All right. But let's look at how we implement the royalties. So the first thing that we do is keep track of the artist or the creator. So that's this here. We have a creator in this NFT collection. So this NFT collection is a smart contract we're looking at. And how do we keep track of the creator? Well, we do it inside this thing called the constructor function, which is this function right here. So this is the function that gets called whenever the smart contract is created. So whenever it's put on the blockchain for the first time. Whoops, I lost my file here. We call this constructor function, right? And this has several arguments. It has name, symbol, which basically is the name and the symbol for the NFT. But then we also include the artist address. Okay, so basically this is just the Ethereum address of the person who is the creator of the NFT. All right, and this is where the funds will go anytime that anytime that a NFT is traded, changes hands, and there's ether involved in that transfer. So we also keep track of the royalty fee. All right, so that's going to be how much this person gets paid anytime that the NFT changes hands. Okay, so let's look at how that royalty is implemented. Let's look at a function that's going to get called whenever the NFT changes hands like this. There are several different ones, but let's just scroll down and start off with the transfer from function. So this is the most common function that gets called whenever NFTs change hands. So basically address from is the address the NFTs, change, this is the sender address. So that's like if we're going from collector number 1 to collector number 2, collector number 1's address goes in the from field. The 2 address, again, these are just blockchain addresses, Ethereum addresses. Address 2 is the receiver address. This is collector number 2. Okay. The token ID is the NFT that's being traded. So you can see like NFT 1 and NFT 2. Let's just say it's, NFT 2 for this example's purposes. You would literally put in the number 2 here. And then this is public function, so anybody can call it. And it's also payable because ether can be sent in with the transaction. Okay. So inside of here is where we do the override. So we basically say if MSG value is greater than 0, basically if this NFT is changing hands and there's money involved in this transaction, specifically with ether, not for tokens, but for ether, then we want to pay out a royalty. So let's talk about how that works. Because message is a global variable inside Solidity that has something called value on it. And this keeps track of the amount of ether that's involved in the transaction. And so we're saying if any ether is involved in this, if there is a message value and it's greater than 0, then we want to basically implement a royalty. Okay, so basically we take the royalty, we take the message value and multiply it by the royalty fee, which is exactly what we put in here when we deployed the contract. All right. And we calculate it as a percentage with this, divide by 100 to get a percentage. And then we basically do pay royalty, all right? And so let's look at this pay royalty function because this is what's going to actually pay the creator, and we're going to use this multiple times throughout the contract. So down here is this pay royalty function, all right? And inside of this, we pass in the royalty fee, which we calculated in the transfer, and we basically call payable, and we pass in the artist. Okay, and this is the artist that's saved up here whenever we deploy the contract. It's the artist address, and we basically send them cryptocurrency. We send them the royalty fee. That's what this line does right here, all right? And so after that, we do the payable line again, and then we deduct the royalty fee. Okay. And we do the sale. All right. Made a sale event. And then we called the safe transfer from function underneath the hood. So that was in safe transfer from. So anyways, we have a transfer from function and a safe transfer from function. I believe that I switched back between these, but they're very similar. It's just that this has some additional machinery around it. Okay. So next we can look at other places where we might implement royalties. So it's not just about when NFTs change hands between each other. It's also when people individually, mint NFTs. So this is really common in NFT drops. People will create NFTs from scratch, and that'll create a new NFT, like, NFT. I'm kind of running out of room here. NFT number 3, right? They'll go to an NFT drop and they'll mint them. So a lot of times this implements a mint function, and that's what we do here. So basically, we do call this mint function. This basically creates NFTs from scratch, and same type of thing right here. As long as they're not the owner of the project, then we make sure that the, if the NFT value is being traded more than the cost, then we deduct that royalty again, just like we did in the other thing. And so you can see some machinery on how to create a mintable NFT here. We basically just give it a cost, which is 1 Ether in this case. You could change this to a smaller number if you want to. And we give it a max supply of the total number of NFTs that can be minted. This is just 20. You can make this a 10,000 NFT project if you wanted to. And then that's pretty much it. Okay. You can change some settings in the NFT. You can set the royalty fee, but that's pretty much an overview of the code. So let's look at the tests. So these are tests in JavaScript that show how it works. All right. So basically, we have an NFT set up here, and it just shows you how it works. So it describes the deployment. It describes the royalties. So, initially belongs to owners. This just shows you all the behavior, right? We can show that it successfully transfers to owner 2, and it updates the Ether balances. So whenever the NFT changes hands, that the royalties are properly paid out. So you can check the artist balance change and the owner balance change. I realize I went through all these pretty fast, but you can definitely check on these kind of more as an exercise to observe how this is working underneath the hood and read through the code. It'll help you out quite a bit. So I'm just going to go through these tests and do Truffle Tests. All right. So let's see here. And there they work. Awesome. So you can go through those and see exactly how the NFT functions. So finally, we got a script inside of here that it lets us, let's just see here, scripts perform sale. They'll let you perform the sale in real time. So you can actually call this on your blockchain network, whether it's a test network, whether it's Ganache, whatever. But basically, this sets up several accounts. So you'll need to have several accounts created. If you're running Ganache, they all get created from whenever you start the blockchain. So we have deployer, the artist, an owner 1, owner 2, and we just simulate an NFT drop. So basically, somebody deploys the project, and then somebody comes in and mints it, and then basically we transfer NFTs, and we make sure that the artist, is paid royalties for each of these scenarios. So let's do Truffle Test, or sorry, Truffle Exec. That's how you run scripts in Truffle. Truffle Exec, scripts, perform sale. Let's just make sure. Yeah, awesome. Boom, there you go. So we can see the initial balance of deployer is this, 101. Initial balance of artist, 105. Owner 1, owner 2. So we minted NFT. So it's been minted. Here's the balance have changed. All right, and you can see the balance of the artist is going up with each interaction. Okay, from 106 to 108.5. All right, transfer complete. Awesome. All right, so that is an overview of how you do NFT royalties inside of your smart contracts, okay? So again, this is just one strategy for doing this that of course requires that the fee being paid and the transfer is done in Ether. It's not going to detect it if tokens are transferred. There's some other strategies, which is basically, you could create a marketplace that keeps track of the creators and they're always paid. And then maybe you write the creator address to the NFT as a variable, and anytime it's listed that it tracks the creator address, all that type of stuff. All right, so there's different trade-offs for each thing, but this gives you some ideas and shows you how to implement it. And if you want to create a marketplace that does that as an exercise, that'd be a great next step. And so other next steps would be to create maybe a front-end website for that marketplace or a front-end website for your NFT. some more scripts, some more advanced tests, some more advanced behavior. There's lots of different ways you could take this. And again, this is just an overview on how it works. It's not designed to be a step-by-step, coding tutorial on exactly how to create an NFT from scratch. We've done some of those on YouTube already. And also, if you want that comprehensive, step-by-step, in-depth blockchain knowledge on how to code for blockchain from start to finish and create an in-depth real-world project, then that's exactly what the Blockchain Bootcamp is for. So you can sign up with the link down below. All right, so that's all I got for today. And until next time, thanks for watching Blockchain Mastery University. All right, so that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps these videos out so that more people can learn about blockchain. And if you like this video, you want more videos like this, you want to learn how to code for blockchain step-by-step from start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. Until next time, thanks for watching Dapp University.